I believe fear is when someone doesn't know how to handle something, or is when a situation pressures him or her, like going on a roller coaster or skydiving. But the reality is that every one of us has some fear. It can be as small as being scared of clowns, or as big as to be scared to die. In both these cases, the fear comes from the uncertainty of not knowing what will happen next, or even what will happen when they have to confront this fear. These two examples are two of many fears people have, and it shows that when a person can't handle something, that uncertainty turns into fear. I have feared quite a few things in my life. I had been once scared of being near dogs when I was about 5. But soon overcame it since a new neighbor moved into the house right next to mine, and they had a puppy which I thought was so adorable, so I soon lost my fear of dogs. I found out they can actually be man's best friend. Another fear I had was of the dark. The mere thought of being in the dark terrified me, so whenever I had to sleep on my bed all alone, questions would pop up in my head which just made me more scared, like throwing oil on a sizzling flame. What if there's a monster under my bed? What if it is waiting for me to sleep so that it can eat me? But after my parents had made me sleep in the dark by myself for so long, I got used to it. After waiting for the monsters that never came, I soon got bored of them and just went to sleep every night, which caused me to overcome my fear of the dark. Though these were two fears that I had when I was younger, I had another one that was not easy to overcome. There was always one fear I had that triumphs over all my other fears. It would always make my mind wander off. This fear was of getting robbed. The thought of a total stranger sneaking into my house just to take my things frightened me. When I was younger, about 8 years old, my cousin's house had been broken into and had been robbed. When I had heard this, the butterflies had entered my stomach and began devouring me from the inside out. Fear had truly entered inside me. I would always ask my parents to sleep with them every night, scared that if a robber came, I would be protected, like 2 knights guarding their royalty. But this didn't help much because I kept on getting terrible nightmares of my house being robbed, and this caused me to move around a lot while I was sleeping, so my nights had become restless. This had happened for a while until I went to my aunt's house one day. My family and I had gone to my aunt's house to visit, and we had decided to sleep over. My aunt's neighborhood was pretty safe, and crime rarely occurred, but that really didn't change my fear of being robbed. That night, I had my usual nightmares, but this time I had woke up. It was about 1 in the morning, and I heard something downstairs on the first floor. Who could that be? I had crept out of the bed, making sure I didn't wake up my parents, and grabbed the cordless phone that was on the nightstand. I had silently gone to my aunt's room to see if she was there. She was sleeping peacefully, and that's when I knew something was wrong. Someone had entered our house, and when I realized that, fear enveloped me. But that fear soon turned into my motivation to see who it was. I was tired of being afraid, and so I slowly went downstairs. I had heard noises coming from the guest room, and so I silently went there with the phone in my hand, dialed to 911 and my small fingers on the green send button. When I looked inside the room, I had saw nothing but darkness. But after a few seconds, my eyes adjusted to the darkness, and I started to see something. My heart jumped. I saw the outline of a colossal man with a black mask concealing his face. The phone line to the police department had instantly connected with the phone. I had, without even realizing it, clicked the send button. I had heard the voice of a woman from the other side of the phone line, and I had told her all the information. After I ended the call, I had locked the door the robber was in, and woke up everyone in the house. A few minutes later, police officers rushed inside the house and went into the room with the robber in it, and had took him and arrested him. I don't think I've ever been hugged by anyone more than when my parents did that day. I could barely breathe, but I was glad, because I had finally overcome my fear of getting robbed. After that day, my nightmares had finally subsided, and I was able to sleep by myself again. Now I know that fear is just the uncertainty of not knowing what will happen next, since I overcame my fear. I was scared of being robbed only because I was not sure how I would react when I was in that kind of situation. But I endured it, and now I'm not scared of being robbed. That is why I believe that fear is from the uncertainty of not knowing what will happen next in a certain situation. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening to my photo story.